What's up, everybody? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfill, aka the bearded dwarven princess to some of you, which is amazing. Welcome to episode 65 of Monday Musings. And if this is your first time here or you're new here, this is my personal blog space. I do them every Monday. We kick them off at about 7 a.m. Central Time. And this is where I just talk about life. The other stuff I do in here is 10 to 15-minute episodes about games, books, TV shows, pop culture, movies, stuff like that. But this show is just, it's me. And these usually run 30 minutes long. Sometimes we do a 45-minute episode, but for the most part, these are about 30 minutes long, and we just talk about life. So, a few things I want to get out of the way right off the bat. I'm pre recording this on Saturday, like I usually do. Usually pre record these on Saturdays or Sundays, April 14th. As of this recording, I just hit 3,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is pretty freaking amazing for me. So, I want to say a shout out to all of you who have given me a sub and who have followed along the videos. That's meant a lot to me. Just to think, January 2021, the channel had like 84 people, I think, and that was when I really started to decide. I'd had the YouTube channel for a couple years by that point, but I'd never done anything with it. And then that's when I decided, hey, we're gonna start doing YouTube. Like I'm gonna start taking it seriously and doing a couple videos a week. And then that gradually increased over time, and then I started adding streaming into the mix, and it's been a cool ride to see that grow. So I appreciate all of you who have given me a subscription. And more importantly, those of you who have chosen to support financially. We've gotten access to monetization as of February. And since then, I've seen, people who are in the live streams doing the super chats and stickers, which is amazing. Thank you so much. We just got access to super thanks recently, and people have already done some super thanks on videos, which is really cool. I appreciate that. And then there's memberships. Yesterday we had two new members join. We had Runeword Gaming and Kanten. So thank you very much for your support, you two. They are joining the ranks with Meat Hooks and Liam's Lyceum along with Brian Hunley. And then over at Patreon, we've got Mark Hubin, William Long, Tristan, Andrew Dalton, Bounty Code, Brian Hurley times two because he's also here on YouTube. Sparrow, Ian, Ziplocs, Matthew Little, the Nathan Napalm, Liam Hall, who's also Liam from Lyceum. He's times two. You guys are crazy. I love you. Chobo Hornet, Scribbles. Big shout out to all of you who have chosen to support either this channel or our stuff on Patreon for the Weave in the Void. Thank you so much. We're going to dive into some stuff here, but before we do, this is the part where if you're new here, I would say, yeah, we got a lot to cover today because we did more stuff this week. We added more stuff on top of what we're already doing. So I did a couple community posts asking people, what do you want to see more of, so on and so forth. And we've started to add some new stuff. But before we do, I would say if you haven't already done so and you do like the content, I would love it and be very grateful if you could drop a super thanks on a video, support during one of the live streams with a super chatter sticker, or join as a member. Right now we only have one tier of membership. I am going to be adding more tiers in the future. I'm going to sit down and talk with the Nathan Napalm about some stuff because he's doing really well with YouTube subs and figure out with him some stuff that might work for my channel. Um, but Patreon is the big place. We obviously split the money three ways. Well, it's actually two ways, but it's my wife and I and my brother, so that gets split between Chris and I and my brother. But it's basically a 50-50 split is what that is. So Patreon is the place to get the most perks right now because that's all related to the World of the Weave and the Void, which is that world map back there. It's our tabletop setting. The 5th edition source book is dropping June 1st. We're close, ladies and gentlemen. We are close. Like 2 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away. And then we're starting the live stream on June 5th with the Nathan Napalm, Simmer, Bounty Code Sparrow, my brother, my wife, and I. That's pretty awesome. Sourcebook's dropping June 1st. Then we've got a Kickstarter in July-ish, I think in mid-July, for the hardback versions. And then that world map back there's also a point-and-click game called Adventurer's Tale. There is a free demo that you can download over on the Patreon page. A lot of you have already picked that up and played through it, which is pretty awesome. Thank you so much. You can pre-order that game on the Patreon page. You can pre-order the tabletop books on the Patreon page. And there's also the book chapters that I'm writing for the novel, which is a lot like Dragonlance with chapter art and stuff like that. and those get published a couple times a month on Thursdays. Chapter 19 is coming out this Thursday upcoming. So you can pick up a subscription over there. We've got a couple of goals. The big goal there is if we get to $1,500 a month, I'll be publishing the chapters once a week rather than twice a month. And if we hit $3,000 a month, we're going to bring Nathan Napalm on as a full-time artist and give a third of that cash to him. So it'll be split three ways at that point. It'll be $1,000 a month from wife and I, $1,000 a month from my brother, and $1,000 a month for Nathan. So if you want to help us reach those objectives, Patreon page is over there. And if you want to help me reach my personal objective of going full time on YouTube, then join here on YouTube and let's rock that out. It's an interesting thing. I've harped on this the last couple episodes, and so I appreciate those of you who have stepped up and supported. I am looking to go full time on YouTube. It might seem like I'm full time on YouTube, but it's an illusion. What it is I'm giving everyone a taste of what it would look like if I were full time on YouTube because I have the luxury of time right now. But I will eventually need to reach a point by the end of June, maybe the end of July, but the end of June is my kind of cutoff point for analyzing the data. If I can get to a certain amount by the end of June, then I know that I can at least cover all of our basic expenses. And I'm not going to go look for part-time work. I'm just going to do YouTube moving forward. YouTube and game dev. That's it. Um, Traditionally, I have done game dev with a part-time job for like the last 8 years now, since 2014. And then before that, I always did our travel blog with content writing and photography contracts and videography contracts, marketing gigs as well. Um, My last contract ended in January of this year. We moved in March. We got everything set up in April, and here we are in mid-May now. Everything's taken care of. And in the beginning of May, I decided to actually start streaming for real and start streaming with a schedule. And we finally got our internet. Like our backwoods internet is more or less working after a lot of threats to the local ISP. And we brought the heat down from their corporate overlords and they took off the throttle because they were throttling me at nights from 7:30 onwards, and I have not been throttled for about 10 days now, unthrottled. And since I've been able to stream regularly now for the last 10 days, I have seen our income on YouTube go up. It's doubled basically, and it's not a lot at the moment, but I can look at the data and say, well, it has doubled in 10 days. What's it going to do in another 10 days? What's it going to be like at the end of May? What's it going to be like mid-June? What's it going to be like at the end of June? And if I keep seeing that steady rise, then we're on the right track. Chris doesn't like me to talk about financials, and I don't blame her in terms of talking about income because that's a big thing that I don't like talking about income. Like how much does someone make per year? Because I think that's only something that you need to know. I don't even tell the government how much I make. I put something down on paper after I've used all the available legal loopholes available to me. But we all, my money's my money, For king and country, fuck that. Like I worked for that money. That's my money. I will pay what I need to for taxes, but I will pay the least amount possible using all the legal loopholes available to me, which is no different than every other person out there. Um, so I don't like to talk about how much money we make every year. Um, but I can say this in terms of YouTube. The amount of we bought a place for cash in southeast Mexico in a small little town near where Chris's family lives. It's paid for, no mortgage. We are documenting all of this. We're in the process of recording all the footage and everything else over at the Marginal Boundaries YouTube channel, which is our old YouTube channel from the travel blog from years ago. Um, Without getting into what, stuff that Chris doesn't want me to talk about, I can say that I have an objective right now on YouTube of getting the combined income from YouTube and Patreon to $500 a month. If I get those two combined to $500 a month, then I don't need to go look for part-time work. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. and we're getting there. We are on a march towards that objective. Um, so I would love it if you support the channel financially, monetarily, either here or over at Patreon. Patreon is going to be where you get the most perks right now, above and beyond all the video content that I produce here on YouTube. So if you're happy with just all the video content and all the streams I do and everything else, then support here. But otherwise, go over to the Patreon page. Now I'll shut up about all that shit. Let's talk about life. But I do want to get that out of the way because I am trying really hard. I mean, right now I'm putting in probably 10 hours a day into YouTube and game dev, sometimes 12-hour days. And yes, we are getting compensated by, to some small degree, um, whenever these books come out and when the video games come out and everything else. But we have to, we're recouping expenses at that point. So I'm trying to get YouTube going. And YouTube's only been monetized since February. Um, and I was moving throughout March, so I didn't have a chance to take advantage of really anything until April, and then the internet was being crappy, and then now we're in May, and I got internet, and so I'm out there saying, follow me, you fuckers. As there's a TikTok guy I love, follow me, you fucking idiots. Follow me, and figure out a way that you could support. It'd be awesome if you did. Let's talk life stuff. So I'm a homeowner now, and the way the homes are built here is block. There's no earthquakes, there's no tornadoes. Um, there are heavy thunderstorms and rains. We're getting ready to hit the rainy season in June, and it'll get pretty nasty for about a month. Like thunderstorms, like badass. Like we just had to go to the city a couple days ago. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. No, it was Wednesday. We went to the city on Wednesday. And on our way home, the lightning was so bad that I was like, should we be driving right now? Like this is kind of nasty. Um, the cows are all running through the fields trying to find shelter. Like it got nasty for like 45 minutes. But it's like one month out of the year, and there's no other things here. But because it's block, there's not a lot that you can do with if the house is built well, block will stand up for generations. Then my brother just sent me a video this morning. He's got home insurance and everything else, but a tiny little pipe size of my pinky finger decided to leak at a junction, and he woke up to an entire basement ceiling that had been flooded, and all the sheetrock is ruined. And it ran down a wall in the laundry room and into the laundry room drainage, and it ruined the wall. It ruined all the ceilings, and just homeowner's nightmare. And there are things that we have to fix. Like I've got the video zoomed in so you can't see right now, and of course you're seeing a very logistically, strategically captured corner of our little office. This Here, I'll just turn this camera real quick. Like, you see that right there? You don't see that, and there's no baseboards here, but you don't really see that in my videos normally. The wall needs to be painted. That is a block wall, and the humidity, because I'm running an AC unit in here, and the humidity between here and the outside, the people who painted this on the way out used a water-based paint, and because of the condensation and the humidity, the paint's just peeling off the wall. So these are homeowner nightmares. But at least I don't have burst pipes, knock on wood. Um, we do have a leak in that wall because there's drain pipes from the bathroom there. And so the bottom half of the wall, which I've showed this in the documentation videos. We haven't started publishing those yet on the other channel, but I've showed my brother and a couple of other people, but it's nothing. There's nothing we can do about it at the moment. It's just it's seepage, not nasty seepage, but just water seepage from bad drains, and so there's continual as the water is draining from the sink, and the connecting. It's not the drainage from the toilet; it's the actual input to the toilet. None of the seals are good, and so the plumbing was just very poor quality. And because the house is like 20 years old, those seals have started to come loose, and so it's seeping water, and it makes the wall is continually wet. That's got to be fixed. So yay for homeowner stuff. Um, I officially had to take care of my last little bit of paperwork. It should be the last thing I ever have to do for my permanent residency in Mexico, unless I decide to get my passport and naturalize, which I haven't done yet. I've been here going on 13 years. I've been a permanent resident since 2015. Um, been married since 2013. I got my permanent residency through work, not through marriage. I could have gotten it through marriage, but I was a freelancer at the time. And I did it all through freelancing. So you submit your income reports to the government. They say how much money do you make per month, and I made more than that. And they said, okay, here's your temporary residence. And then every year for 4 years or 5 years, I forget now. I think it was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It was at least 4 years, maybe 5 years. I had to do income reports every year to prove to the government that I made enough money to legally support myself here. And once I had done that for 4 years and got through the temporary residency process, I was able to get permanent residency. So I've been a permanent resident since 2015. But one of the legal obligations you have as a green card holder in Mexico is anytime you change your address, you have to go update the immigration office that you've moved. And it's different every place I've done. This is the fourth time I've done it. Fourth time in like 13 years that we've moved. This is the last time I'll be moving because we own the place, so I will never have to move again, theoretically. And it was different. The first time I did it was in Playa del Carmen. That was a very seamless process. Went in, get a number, sit down. Your number gets called. You go to the front desk, turn in your paperwork. You're good. Then I did it in Cancun. Cancun was chaos. Cancun was the doors open at 9:30. There's no numbers. There's no anything. You gotta stand in line and first come first serve. And so people start forming up a line at 5:30 in the morning. And because Cancun is a very big tourist destination, by the time you hit 8:30, 9 o'clock, there's 300 people in line. So I learned very quickly that you just get there at 5 o'clock in the morning and you stand in line for 4 hours until they open at 9, and that way you're the first in line, and so you can get in and out. Because no matter what you do, you're there 4 hours. You're a minimum of 4 hours in line, no matter when you get there. But if you get there at 5, you're in the building by 9 a.m., which is when it starts getting hot outside. So if you show up at like 9:30, you're going to be out there until 1 o'clock when it's freaking boiling hot and they shut at 1 p.m. So it's better to just get there early, bring a book, you know, and just wait it out. So I did it in Cancun one time. That was not fun. Then I did it in Mexico City in 2018 when we moved there, and that was the first time I did it by myself. Actually, I went. Chris was at work. Um, went and relatively, I was in and out in 30 minutes. This time was not fun, but at least it's done. So I had to do it in the nearest city to where we live is Villahermosa. Um, it's a decent sized city. There's an international airport here. There's not a lot out here. It's oil refineries and cattle ranches, and there's just this is a but the city of Villahermosa is mostly around Pemex, which is the national gas and oil company. So there's a bunch of refineries up there. Anyway, we went up to the city and got there at 9 a.m. right when they opened. We got there like 15 minutes after they opened, and I had tried calling every day for like 10 days to just find out, hey, what system do you have? Do I need to line up at 5 in the morning? Do I just show up? Is it by appointment, or do you do numbers? And I show up and I wait in line for about 30 minutes outside. And a guy comes out and he says, "What are you here for?" And I'm like, "This." And he takes a look at my paperwork. He says, "Be right back." And he goes inside and he comes back out and he goes, "All right, your appointment's for 12:30." And I'm like, "It's by appointment?" And he went, "Yeah." And I was like, "Well, I've been calling every day for days." He's like, "Yeah, we're not doing any appointments by phone or by internet since March 15th." And I was like, "That sucks." So it's a 2.5 hour trek for us to go to the city. So I traveled 2.5 hours. We got up at 4, left at 6, got to the city by 8:30, then took a taxi and got there in time for them to open, only to find out that I've now been given an appointment. Thankfully, I was given an appointment for the same day because there were other people who showed up after me. So remember, the offices are open from 9 to noon, 9 to 1 is the block that they will work from. They'll actually work until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but they shut the doors at 1 o'clock. So I got an appointment the same day at 12:30. There were people that came after me that were given appointments for the following day. And I would have been thoroughly livid had I taken a 2.5 hour trip into town only to be told that I need to come back the next day. I don't know why they won't do things over the phone or by the internet. It's the stupidest thing in the world to me. It is what it is. So Chris and I are then at that point going, well, shit, we've got 3 hours to burn. Let's go to the mall because it's hot. It was already like 95 degrees out at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and the mall's not open till 11. So it was like it wasn't quite 10:30. It was like 10:15. So we just went and found a tree and sat in this little park area for 45 minutes till the plaza opened. Then we went and wandered around the plaza. Then I came back at 12 because they told me 12:30. I got in line, and You're in a building, but you're outside the office, but you're in a corridor, and there's no air conditioning, and it's shade, but it was like 102 degrees, and so I stood there for an hour in 100-degree heat with a mask on, just like suffocating before I finally got into the office. Then it was another hour of sitting in the office before they called me up, and then I had another 45 minutes. We didn't get done until almost, um, it was like 2 o'clock, I think, something like that. And then we went and got something to eat, and then we had to wait to catch a bus back to town. Another hour. We got on the bus at 4:30. We got back here at almost 7, and it was crazy thunderstorm. So it was a long day because we left at 6 a.m. and got back at 7 p.m. But address has changed, and I will never, ever, ever have to do that ever again, which is awesome because that's just like the DMV, but only worse. Because I don't think I've ever had a DMV experience be more than like 3 or 4 hours. In retrospect, though, I really only was at the office from, you know, 12 to 2, plus in the morning, so maybe 3 hours in total. But because of the way the day worked, it was not a fun day. That was Wednesday. It's done. I never have to do that ever again, which is really cool. So now that we've got the internet sorted out and everything else, the only hiccup that I have, the only complaint I have about the place where we live is it's hot, which is not a big deal when you live in the air conditioning like I do. The problem is though is because we're in the countryside, the power grid is not like it is in the city, and the power does go out really regularly. It goes out at least once a week. Usually it's only for a few minutes. Usually it's like you'll lose power for 5, 10 minutes and then it comes back on. But a couple times a month it'll go out, and it'll go out for several hours. And I've heard from the neighbors now that there are horror stories of once or twice a year when the power will go out for 12 to 24 hours. And I'm just like, ew, I really hope that we don't, I hope that doesn't happen in May, because the last week when it went out for like the 4 hours during the middle of the afternoon, what happened was the well, one of the main pumps at the water uh, purification plant, broke, and a power line went down, and they had to shut everything down for the whole town to get the power line to the water facility fixed, because that's water for the whole town. So not only did we not have power for 4 hours, nobody had water for 4 hours. So everything was off for 4 hours, and that was like 102 or 104-degree heat day, and that was brutal. And it wasn't just a couple people; it was that whole town had no juice. Um, and that's just being out in the countryside and this being a really hot place where everyone's running air conditioner. And I've talked about this in previous episodes. There's a lot of people do some sketchy electrical stuff here, and they're not properly connected to the grid. And so the grid is the grid is more devices are pulling from the grid than should theoretically be pulling from the grid, and so it's constantly blowing transformers and flipping breakers. And the transformer, if you've never heard a transformer blow, there's one it's a block out and 2 blocks up, and it's blown. We've been here 2 months. It's blown 4 times, and each time it blows, it sounds like a bomb went off. And it blows. Lid comes off and casing, and it's funny, and when that happens, you're out for like 6 hours because the guys have to come and fix things. Like, it's not just a flip and a breaker. It's like they got to come out and they got to get up there on their trucks and they got to work on it for several hours. And that has happened 4 times in 2 months. And I'm like, Is this going to be happening all year long, or is that only because April and May are the hot months? So it's a small price to pay. And here's what I tell people. In I did an episode of this. I did an episode on this show, on this channel, I think. Why do I live in Mexico? And there was, I talked a lot about my past history for those of you who are new here. Um, the cost of living here is way cheaper. So even in Mexico City, I think we were at $1,200 a month total for everything: universal health insurance, electric, internet, food, water, drinks, everything. And I like good whiskey, so that was included in there. 1,200 bucks a month. That was with rent, and my rent was 650 to 675 a month. So do the math on that. I don't have rent and I don't have a mortgage. So I don't need a ton to pay the basic bills. Um, so that's my objective right now with YouTube and Patreon, is getting those to the point where I can cover all of our basic necessities. Because I don't, not that I'm lazy, but I talked about this in a previous episode too. I'm 42, but I've been working since I was 7. Okay, I grew up on a dairy farm. My dad had a construction company. I have been working since I was 7 years old. I was running 25-man crews on a construction site by the time I was 19 years old. I had my first company by myself when I was 21, running my own crew with 2 guys under me. So I've been self-employed since I was 21. I'm 42 now, so I'm 20 years full time plus all the years. I'm done, you know. And it's also really hard getting a job as a 42. This sounds like I'm complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm giving you guys some perspective. I'm a 42-year-old, straight, white, old, bearded dude. No one wants to hire a straight, white, bearded, old, white guy. They just don't. That's not where the world is right now. We are, and this has nothing to do. I'm married to a Mexican. I live in Mexico. I speak Spanish. I am the furthest thing from racist. I am the furthest thing from any of that. We have friends who are homosexuals. We have friends who are, trans. The world is different these days, and so it's all about minorities and etc. And so I'm just like, do I even want to put myself through the application process again of going out there and trying to find a part-time gig in a world where it's increasingly difficult to, or do I just say screw it and go full time on the game development and YouTube production? So that's where my mindset has been right now, is full time YouTube and game dev, because I've always split the game dev with other stuff. But we'll see how things go. Depends on you folks, and as the channel continues to grow and as people continue to like the content. All right, we've gotten the life stuff out of the way. Let's talk gaming, because that was kind of heavy. We're 30 minutes in, and I was just talking heavy shit. P99 group has been doing very, very well. We've done 2 stream sessions now with the official stream group, and that's myself, Nathan Apalm, Bountycode Sparrow, Kel the Reaver, and Vindini the great Vindini. We are multi-streaming on Friday nights from 5:30 p.m. Central onwards for about 4 hours each Friday night on P99 Green. Those streams have been very well received. Great views, great everything. Got some bunch of new followers, people supporting those with lots of different ways. Really cool stuff. Um, all of our channels are growing, which is amazing. Then we, of course, have been doing P99 Saturdays and Sunday mornings. We're about to start the TLP servers for EverQuest on May 25th, and I'm going to be playing um, more than I normally play, but that's because I'm attempting to go full-time streaming. So um, I will be streaming. Let me look at this. I gotta process through my mind for a minute. I will be streaming Monday nights, Wednesday nights, Saturday and Sunday mornings. I will be streaming EverQuest, TLP. Tuesday nights are Lotro. We've switched from Thursday nights to Tuesday nights for Lord of the Rings Online, and I will be streaming in the mornings, as I always do. I usually stream in the morning with coffee for a few hours. I'll be streaming Lord of the Rings Online and Xbox. Right now, I'm doing a playthrough of Dragon Age Origins, and I just finished Trek to Yomi, which was interesting. And I'm gonna do. Oh, and I did Outlanders, which was interesting. And I'm gonna do Titan Reach, Titanfall. I think it's called Titanfall 2. It's like a mech game. It's from the Respawn, the guys who did um, Jedi Fallen Order, which I loved, and I hadn't played any of their previous games, so I'm gonna play that next as well. Anyway, um, but the next big thing, and this was something we started discussing in private with the people involved, and then my brother and I just dropped it on everybody Friday morning, which was this: we, we being myself, my brother, the Nathan Napalm, his wife Winter, and Sparrow, are starting a Wrath of the Lich King World of Warcraft Classic group that are going to be streaming our sessions on Thursday nights from 7:30 p.m. Central starting June 2nd. Now, I've never played Wrath of the Lich King. I've barely ever played World of Warcraft. I did play Classic for 6 months when it launched. My brother has dabbled in World of Warcraft, always wanted to do a static group. Nathan has only ever done pickup groups, him and his wife, so they're really looking forward to doing the group. And Sparrow has done a little bit more regular stuff. As a result, we found out more people wanted to play with us. So we've also now spun up a World of Warcraft Classic Guild. Well, we are in the process of spinning up the guild. We did start the channel in our Discord server for that venture. Because here's the thing. Right now, it's just a casual. We're playing our static group. My brother and I are playing in the mornings, etc. We're leveling up outside of those groups, outside of that session. And what we do is we're setting goals each week, and it's like we need to be 25 by this Thursday. Okay, Joey and I are going to level together. Bounty and Sparrow are going to level together, and Winter and Nathan are going to level together, and we're all going to meet up at level 25, and do a dungeon that night. But we had other people who wanted to play with us. As an example, Bounty being Sparrow's husband, and my brother's got a couple of real life friends, and we've got some other people. So we're going to spin up a guild, the Raven Syndicate, of course, on the Poggle server. We haven't done an announcement video yet. I'm actually working on that this weekend. I'm going to be working on the announcement video today, actually. That'll be coming out on Sunday. My friend, I got to circle back around. We are going to be busy. So our primary game has always been Lord of the Rings Online. That's our primary MMORPG. In between there, we do other games. EverQuest 1, EverQuest 2, P99. Right now, we're in the middle of, we did EverQuest 2. Then we went full-time only with Lord of the Rings Online. Then we did EverQuest P99, and now we're doing EQ1 TLP server. These ventures usually last about 3 months before people get bored and they want to do something else. So we're going to have June, July, and August. They're supposedly doing the pre-patch for Wrath of the Lich King in August, and the pre-patch will last about 4 weeks. So we anticipate that Wrath of the Lich King will be September-ish of this year. So we're going to be doing TLP. Some of us are going to be leveling up characters on the Poggle server in anticipation of Wrath of the Lich King. Then with Wrath of the Lich King drops, our secondary group adventures will become Wrath of the Lich King content for September, October, November of this year, is the plan at the moment. So if you want to be a part of any of those things, join the Discord. Links are down below. And of course, follow along the streams when we're streaming. Now, the big thing with the EQTLP thing is there's going to be static groups, there's going to be non-static groups, there's going to be people who play a lot, people who play a little. I'm going to be playing a lot, mostly because I'm going to be streaming this, and I'm trying to go full-time streaming, and I'm trying to establish this as an income source with my YouTube channel right now. The more I'm online, the more views I'm getting, which helps out with advertising revenue, but more importantly, it helps out with super chats and stickers and super thanks and memberships and everything else. So, I'll be playing a lot. Kel and myself, he's playing a druid, I'm playing an enchanter. We're going to be playing together frequently. Our plan right now is the servers go live on the 25th. We're going to be there. He took off like 5 days of work. He took off the 25th, 26th, 27th, and 30th. So we're going to be playing 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. We're going to be playing 6 days in a row. We're going to be playing like 12 hours a day. And leveling up our druid and enchanter. and whoever else is along for the ride when we do that. Um, and then once we're past that, we're going to be streaming EverQuest TLP Monday nights and Wednesday nights from around 6 or 7 p.m. Central Time, 3 or 4 hours each evening. We'll be playing Monday nights and Wednesday nights. Tuesday nights are Locho. Thursday nights are World of Warcraft Classic. Friday nights are P99. And then Saturdays and Sunday mornings from 7 a.m. to noon, we're also going to be streaming EverQuest TLP. So the EverQuest TLP groups that Kel and I are going to be a part of are going to be Monday nights, Wednesday nights, Saturday mornings, Sunday mornings. The static groups for Wrath of the Lich King and P99 are full. Those are streaming groups, those are static groups. No room for people in those. Lord of the Rings Online on Tuesday nights. We take whoever's leveled up and available. Right now we're working on finishing up Moria. We're about halfway through Moria, I think, if I had to estimate. Everybody's late 50s at this point. So we're working our way through Moria. And then, of course, I have my main character, who's Telemar, the lore master, who I play throughout the weekdays. In the morning sessions, I'll stream once or twice a week. Yeah, that's gaming stuff. Now let's talk Weave and Void stuff. The books are ready. I'm adding artwork to it. I've got some racial art coming from Nathan. I'm getting some artwork from Bounty and Sparrow's daughter, who's doing some creature art for us. And that's it. Um, I've got, I want everything in the book by the 25th. The 25th is the cutoff date for my final production day. Once I hit the 25th, I am locking in the layout and doing polish pass from the 25th to the 31st, and then we're launching that book on the 1st. I still don't know how we're selling it yet. I don't know if I'm going to sell it through the Patreon or if we're going to do it through some sort of marketplace system on our website. I could just do it all manually. I don't know that I want to do it manually. Um, I could do Gumroad, I think it's called, or Gumtree, I forget. There's eJunkie. There's lots of places where I can sell um, products. So we'll see where I do it at. But that'll be available. Right now, you can pre-order it through the Patreon page. Eventually, it will be available as a standalone book. And then we'll have map packs and everything else, which right now, you get the map packs included in your subscription with the pre-order. But if you buy the book as a standalone book, you're going to have to pay separate for the map packs because those are not package deals unless you're a Patreon subscriber. Chapter 19 is almost here. Chris is working on she just finished up chapter 14 and 15 artwork, so she's doing chapter 16 artwork right now. So she's about 3 chapters behind, but she's getting caught up from when we did the move. And then poor Chris has had a lot on her plate that we moved here because we own the home now. We're not renting the home, and she is handling the bulk of the housework, which usually we split the housework. But because I'm the only, let's just put this way, my wife is very gracious in allowing me to pursue this as a full-time venture. And so I spend my day in the office and work on this and content production and videos and streaming and everything else. Focus on the game dev side of things, managing all the artists and everything else. She does occasional artwork as she has time, but she's the one taking care of all the house cleaning, all the cooking, the bulk of the shopping. I do help out with grocery shopping. Usually once a week, we'll go do the big grocery run at the supermarket down the road, which is about a 30-minute walk. It's about a 20-minute walk. 20 minutes there, 20 minutes back. We'll do that once a week for the big run, and then everything else she buys at the local store right across. It's literally across the street. And then there's a lady who kills chickens fresh every day right down the street. So we get chickens from her every day. By the way, fresh chicken is it ain't cheap, by the way, but it's like $10 for a whole chicken. It's not. I mean, it's U.S. prices for meat down here, but it's fresh, homegrown, corn-fed, no GMO. It's like those chickens eat tortillas and scraps and corn, and they're grown in the backyard. And that lady kills a couple every single day and sells them. And they are so good. They are so good. So Chris is handling all that stuff, and then she's helping out. We have the kittens now, obviously. Um, they have been last night. I did not sleep last night. So if you followed along Friday and Saturday, my brother and I are streaming our World of Warcraft adventures, but he has me playing with him at 4 a.m. So we're playing 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. our World of Warcraft. So my sleep schedule is all sorts of whack right now. So I'm taking naps in the afternoon. Um, Last night went to bed after P99. It was like 10:30. I got to sleep. I got woken up at 2 o'clock because we let the kittens sleep in here last night. It was their first night sleeping in here with us. They're about 3 months old. Their mama's finally weaned them, and she's not staying around. She's got her other babies. She's gonna go burst somewhere in the street. We can't control her. I just realized that Lego box is not the right direction. That's called kittens getting up in there and moving stuff around. It's gonna drive me nuts now. I'm gonna have to go fix that. Um, I got woken up last night by the female Leia, Princess Leia, Luke and Leia, licking my nose, and she was like curled up in my beard and purring and licking my nose and being very loving. And this is a big breakthrough because these cats were mostly feral when their mom brought them here. We estimated they were like 6 weeks old, 5 or 6 weeks old when her mom brought the two of them here. Because it was right after we moved in. Like the cat showed up and I started giving her scraps, and then like 8 or 9 days after that, she brought the two babies. Um, the boy cat Lucas, he's much more accepting now, but it's very much on his terms. Like when he doesn't want to be touched, he doesn't want to be touched, and he will occasionally still hiss at you if you come at him surprised. But if you get him in the morning or when after he's woken up from a nap, he'll be very loving and he'll put his tail in the air and he'll actually ask for attention, but it has to be on his terms. Whereas the Leia, she wants attention all the time and she's very much bonded, but she hasn't ever purred. So last night was the first time she purred with us. She purrs with her mother, but she's never purred with us. But last night she was purring with me and curled up in my beard and was licking my nose. And I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning to that. And so I was like, oh, hello, baby. And as soon as she realized I was awake, it was like, it's time to play, daddy. And so I got 3 hours of sleep last night and then did another 2 hours this morning. I slept from 10 to noon after we wrapped up all the streams. And yeah, I will sleep like a baby tonight because I'm not getting up that early tomorrow. I do have EverQuest on Sunday mornings at 7 a.m., but it's not 3:30 a.m. to get up for a 4 a.m. stream. Crazy times. So Chris is handling the bulk of the cat duties and house duties right now. So big shout out to Chris for that. If you don't shout out to your spouse or your significant other if they are the person, and this has nothing to do with male or female. I'm not, just because she's a woman, that's not what we're getting at here. Um, because Mexico City, we very much split things. And there was a time when we were running the Airbnb in Cancun, um, when we first started the Airbnb, before it really took off, like the first 3 months, Chris was still working at a hotel part time. And so I managed the Airbnb and I did all the sheets, I did all the laundry, I did all the breakfasts, I did all the house cleaning, I did all of it. So we've always shared duties, but I feel a little bit guilty but Chris doesn't feel the heat like I do, so she barely sweats. Like she'll get a little sweat, she'll get a little bead on her upper lip. I step out of the room at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm like, "Ah," and I'm just drenched like someone threw a cup of water on me. But she also grew up here, and so she's kind of accustomed to the heat. But she also doesn't like to be in the air conditioning like I do. She likes to be out and in the elements. Um, So thanks to Chris for being supportive. You don't see her. She hasn't gamed since we left the city. I know some people have asked, when is Chris going to get back into streaming? When is Chris going to play Lord of the Rings Online with you again? Maybe soon. We've talked about it. Her big thing was just getting the house in working order. And we've pretty much gotten the house in working order and we've gotten the internet sorted out. So now that that's all taken care of, I'd say you might see Chris starting to stream again with me. We'll see. Um, she really enjoyed Lord of the Rings Online, so you never know. She might come back and do that with me from time to time. We shall see. This was a 45-minute episode this week, everybody. It is what it is. I've gotten to the end. I'm going to repeat it. Thanks so much for following along. Thanks for getting to 3,000 subs. I would really appreciate it if you support the channel in some way, shape, or form. Help me on my journey to full-time content creation balanced with game dev. You got two choices. You could do it here on YouTube as a member, part of the Adventuring Guild. There's some fun stuff. We're adding more stuff to it. Right now, it's mostly just emotes, and I'm doing audio book versions of the Bloody Knuckles anthology and Echoes of the Past. We just did one of the short stories for Bloody Knuckles the other day. We're doing another one in a couple days. June, we will be doing Echoes of the Past, all 33 chapters once a week. I'll be doing read-throughs of those. We'll be adding more stuff throughout the summer for our members. You can also do a super thanks on any video that you find on my channel that you appreciate. And of course, you can always do a super chat or sticker during a live stream. Or you can go over to the Patreon page for the World of the Weave and the Void, which is that world map behind me. Patreon.com/Wandering Hermits. And help us get to our first big goal. We have 15 people right now, so it's grown significantly over the past few months. Every month we add 2 or 3 people. So it's been a very slow and steady growth all this year since we switched that over from my personal Patreon to be the Patreon page for the brand. We add 2 or 3 people every month very steadily, and it's been growing. And like I said, we have our first goal, which is $1,500 a month. Once we hit that goal, I will then start writing one story a week, one chapter a week, as opposed to um, 2 chapters a month. And then once we hit $3,000 a month, that's when we bring Nathan Napalm on. So if you want to help support any of those things, then that's the place to do it at, is over at the Patreon page. But either way, hopefully we'll see you here, there, everywhere, in Discord, joining us in one of our gaming community events. Anything else I need to say or talk about? Nope. Stay tuned. Later on this afternoon, I've got the next Mondays in Middle Earth. Not afternoon. 11 a.m. is when those episodes come out. So stay tuned because in a few hours, the next Mondays in Middle Earth episode goes live. Stay safe, everybody. Stay healthy, and hopefully we'll see you in one of the next streams or over in Discord or over on Patreon. Stay safe.